Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to bring to you all the best, recent, cutting edge, most effective, useful, and sometimes fun brain body tools so you can take better control of your emotions, of your thoughts, of your brain, of your body, and most importantly, of your actions. So you get out there and build the life that you absolutely love living. Today, guys, as you guessed from our title, we are talking about business building, entrepreneurship, and no excuses for not getting what you want. I recently finished a book that I'm actually rereading this week, book by Noah Kagan, $1 Million Weekend, the surprisingly simple way to launch a 7-figure business in 48 hours. Now, before reading this book, I thought, another bullshit book that will tell you a bunch of stuff and you with a lot of complexity that half of that is not doable, and then you'll end up just wasting your time and not building that 7-figure business. But when I read the book and when I started it, I realized that it was a different kind of book. The book that author actually is fulfilling on his promise to teach you how to start in a very simple way with from zero, not having anything, but just having his amazing advice to launch a 7-figure business in 48 hours, basically in a weekend. And the last chapter of the book, the title says that you have 52 chances to try it out. And yes, the book doesn't give you promises that you're gonna launch your 7-figure business on the first try, but Noah, the author of the book, Noah Kagan, amazing human being that actually sent me $1 by PayPal as one of the practices that I'm going to share with you in a second is about asking. And so he encouraged people to actually ask for money. And he mentioned that he might even send you $1. And indeed he did. But that's, for another story, a lot of fun stories since I started putting into action everything that I learned in the book and still learning. It's a book. It's going to take a long time to put it all into practice. But this is a business book that I truly recommend for any entrepreneur who is done with their excuses and you actually want to succeed. You actually want to build a business. You actually want to create new life. You actually want to transform your life and surprise and inspire yourself. If you're done with excuses and you're ready to work and rock and roll and make things happen, then this is the book. It does not have none of that complexity that I was afraid of. Only stuff that works. And it covers in such a short book everything you need to know to start in a very simple way, from your business planning and getting your idea, defining your idea we're going to discuss today. And then on our episode on Friday, we're going to talk about how to create a simple business plan and validate your idea, because there are so many tips and tricks that are very practical that I just didn't want to cover them and crumble them and crowd them into one episode, but instead I wanted to take a little bit more time on this book to also help myself to understand it better and to really solidify this knowledge to put it into practice. I personally am now taking this Easter weekend to start working on a business idea that I've had for a while, but I never sat down and made it, smart. What it means, I'll explain to you in a moment, but this book fulfills on its promise to give you a surprisingly simple way to launch this 7-figure business. And once you read it, you'll understand that, yes, there is a real possibility for you wherever you are, or whatever you have, to start a 7-figure business and to succeed following this structure. And yes, it will require a few iterations. It will require a lot of testing, a lot of failing. But as the book teaches you, you got to learn how to get smarter about failing and fail in small ways, and then learn and adjust and pivot fast, not falling in love with the idea. But also what I learned from Netflix co-founder Mark Randolph, to fall in love with the problem and find great problems and figure out the best solution that you're capable of. So people will rush after you to get that solution from your hands instead of you trying to push it on someone. So Noah Kagan and $1 Million Weekend. The book starts with training our asking muscle. And Noah gives a lot of examples and gives a lot of stories and makes solid arguments based on real life experience that, for example, in order to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and asking people for money and for things in general. Like, if you think about that, what is entrepreneurship? It's constant asking to try out your products, to give you feedback, to help you to improve your product or service, to asking for a sale, asking for an investment, asking. And very often, if not all the time, it feels uncomfortable. It's like, why do I have to ask, right? Why don't people just rush to me? And at some point, people will rush to you. But before they do, and especially at the beginning of any business, you gotta be the one who's gonna be asking a lot to validate your idea, to verify that people are ready to pay for it, to then give it to the first adopters, people who are willing to try and to get their feedback and to get their referrals. And it's constant asking. And the fun challenge that Noah proposes everyone to do, to start transforming our fear of asking into our almost desire to ask all the time and to see what you're going to get. Don't ask, don't get. This phrase Noah uses somewhere, but that is so true. If you ask for nothing or little, you're going to get nothing or little. But if you're going to be asking and asking and asking, then there are going to be quite a few yeses, and you're going to get a lot more than you expect. So the challenge that Noah proposes, it's actually also been featured on Tim Ferriss' podcast that they did together on entrepreneurship in San Francisco quite some years ago. So the challenge is to go to a coffee shop or anywhere where you make some regular no sweat purchases and ask for a 10% discount. And the outcome is not what matters. What matters is that you do it. And you ask in a situation where people don't usually ask for a lot. And you put yourself in an uncomfortable position, mostly uncomfortable because of your own thinking. You think, or what the person is going to think of me, or what's the next person in line going to think of me. That's what's been going through my head. But then I thought to myself, well, where is this coming from? And why do opinions of strangers have so much control over what I'm capable of doing? And I decided, no, I'm the kind of person who's committed to doing things. And if I say that I am willing to go through discomfort and build things that are needed to be built in this world, then if I'm that kind of person, that I shouldn't be caring much about what other people think about what I'm about to do, when it's about defying the status quo and doing what other people are not willing to do to create a change or something that other people are not willing to create. So anyhow, I had a conversation with myself and I decided to, yes, if I decided to commit to doing the advice from the book and building 7-figure business, not in a weekend, but starting it in a weekend, then I should be the kind of person who can ask for a 10% discount. And so I did. And I actually got it. I didn't expect. I'm like, are they even allowed to give discounts? Like, I don't know, but I'm going to ask. And the barista asked me, so you want 10% discount? I'm like, yes. And I shut up. And he gave it to me. And he even wrote it on my cup, the cup that I actually saved as a reminder myself that you can do uncomfortable things. And more often than not, guess what? We actually can get a yes. Well, you can get a lot of no's as well, but the only way to get a yes is to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. Well, there is some noise happening in my apartment, but hopefully you don't hear it. And so coffee challenge, try it out. And as Noah says in his book, people are just blown away by the energy and transformation and the whole experience, like liberation that it gives to you when you go through this coffee challenge. And I felt very motivated, inspired, and on fire after that. And I started asking people all the time, and not just asking once, like making almost excuses about me asking for something for business, to give me feedback, to try out the idea, to connect me with the people who might need what I have to offer. I started asking with a lot more vigor and confidence, and people started saying more yeses to me. But just the energy, the liberation that you get, guys, it's so worth trying. And again, if you are the kind of person who says, I'm committed to going through the uncomfortable things and making things happen, then you must try this challenge. And in fact, you must try every challenge. If the only thing that stops you from doing that, it's your own discomfort, you should practice stepping into that zone of discomfort and fearing other people's opinion more and more and more often. Life opens up to the courageous ones who take action no matter how uncomfortable it freaking feels, and you still do it. So that's the coffee challenge. A quote from the book, entrepreneurship is about endless cycle of starting and asking. And isn't that the truth, guys? Starting over. It's day one every day. And you're starting and you're experimenting and you're failing a lot. But then after a while, you don't even notice those things as failures. You're like, oh, that's another thing I haven't tried and that helped me to get closer to the solution that will work. So constant and endless cycle of starting and asking. The second very mind-blowing and transformational idea that I got from the book, and that will also help you as an entrepreneur, change maker, something who creates things from scratch, something who innovates and invents something. The other idea that you want to understand, and I needed to hear it probably tens or 100 times, but now I really understood it. Like, customer first. You don't create exciting thing and then try to sell it, to push it onto people. No, you understand the customer, the person, you understand their needs first and what they want, and then you build your solution around that. So when you have it, you already verified the fact that people want it, and want it not just with their words, but actually ready to pay for it and want to pay for it because it satisfies their want, desire, or it solves a problem and resolves some need that they have. So customer first. I think that is the first time that I really understood it. And Noah gives this example of how, for example, app developers who very often would fail, start their business venture that again ultimately fails compared to customer first mentality. So he says founder first mentality. You built something and like MVP because you had an exciting idea, and then you build a website and marketing, and you get maybe investors even involved, and then you're trying to figure out how to sell it. So that is what a lot of people do. I'm in startup and founder environment all the time, and that's the question that they're having. Who do I sell it to and how? But actually, if you came with a customer first mentality, that would be the question that you solved first, and then you built for the customer. And then you wouldn't have the problem of selling, because you validate the idea talking to the actual customer first. You get the money, the deposit, even $1 from them first, that they're ready to pay for that idea. And then you start building, ideally, with the customer, having those conversations every single day, ongoing, until you build the product. So customer first. And but the mind-blowing idea, I guess, is don't start with building a product, even the MVP. Start talking to the customer first. Would it be cool if I solved this problem? And how would you like it to be solved? What would you pay for that? Can I get a deposit to deliver that on X date? And if you get hell yeah, and where do I wire my money? Then you know that you have something that people are ready to pay for. And now figuring out if that's a big enough market for you to get your $1 million, that's going to come on Friday. We're going to talk about that on Friday, how to very fast and easy, without spending a dime on it, how to verify that you actually have $1 billion, well, not billion, but $1 million opportunity with the people who are ready to pay for that opportunity. So we're going to talk about that on Friday. But today, just understand this idea: customer first. Don't build it, spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, and very often not yours, but investors, and then trying to sell it, trying to figure out who do I sell it to and how. So that is a backwards way of building things when it comes to successful entrepreneurship. So that was an aha moment. I'm like, yeah. So now that I have, for example, in my situation, have this skill set of as a coach of helping people to deliver their absolute best, entrepreneurs and companies and founders. Now that I have this, I need to be a lot more flexible of who do I sell it to and what problem do I solve for them first, so I get the customer for life and then can upsell and deliver all the other amazing aspects of my coaching. But in my, for example, business building right now, I need to get back to the customer. What do my customers actually want? What the problem that they think they have? And let me create the solution that communicates that, not what I'm excited about, or all the neuroscience and hacks and all the other geeky stuff that I'm so excited about. But no, customer first. How do I communicate? Like, what does my customer want, and how do I communicate it through the product, the service that I offer, that I'm solving exactly that they want? And in order to validate or verify that my assumption is true, I need to get deposit and be comfortable with asking for that money. That goes back to that asking muscle that we're going to be training, and you're going to be training with that coffee challenge. Right? So customer first. And then after you figure out who your customer is, that is usually what Noah calls people in your zone of influence, basically people who you have access to, people who you understand, maybe the niche or part of the population that you're part of. Like for me, an entrepreneur, a founder, a female, and in performance. And that's entrepreneurship, founders. I understand that niche very well. Being a self-starter, working for yourself, figuring things out, and creating solutions and services, and living in that environment of uncertainty and challenges and constant iteration and failures, and having to deal with my holistic work-life integration, and balancing my personal life, my professional life that often bleed into each other, managing my own mindset and relationships. Like, I understand that niche, and I understand their wants and their desires, and so I know my who, and I have access to that who. But now the problem. What is the problem? Now the next step. What is the problem that they want to be solved? Not that you are excited about this specific solution. But first, what is the problem that your customer, someone who you want to serve, wants to be solved? And if you don't necessarily know exactly what the problem is, then Noah suggests a very practical steps in action items for you to figure out like what's the problem. For example, he says, first look at yourself and what kind of problems you have in the morning, what kind of to-do items always stay on your to-do list and never get solved. What do you wish somebody else would deliver or do for you? What do you want to buy but nobody's selling it? Then another way to find good problems and with these customers who are ready to pay for it, bestsellers on different places like Amazon, for example, or maybe even at your local store. Like, see what's selling, what's popular, and maybe design add-ons, customize it so people who already buy all these popular things can get something else. And that can be, again, all the different markets where your services, where your products exist. See what people already buy and where people already hang, and deliver your service in a way that is easy to complement with what people already consume. Marketplaces from Craigslist to eBay to Take-A-Lot here in South Africa, very popular. Explore all the marketplaces and see the reviews on popular items, maybe what people are missing or what people would like to be improved. There are also places like Reddit that have specific communities of people who are looking for stuff that is not yet solved, that is not yet sold. So there is subreddit, for example, or just additional thread on this popular website. If you don't know what Reddit is, just Google it. One of the most popular social sites on the internet where people discuss problems, give each other tips, share resources, right? So they have a specific thread dedicated to a solution that the community would like to have, but nobody's making it. So it's like, please make it. Search engines, you can actually now research and get the answers about what do people actually ask for in specific niche around maybe your sector or product or service. What are people looking for? You can actually figure that out. What are the most popular questions, for example, that people ask in Google about specific service, product, topic? So you can use all of this legitimate resources to figure out what do people you want to serve and have access to already are looking for. And if you are in your own niche, and it's a good way to start, it's an amazing place to start because you understand yourself and your kind of people very well. So you have the niche, but now start researching, start figuring out the biggest problem, not just the one that you have, but also that people have all around the world. And that's where you can explore different marketplaces and ask search engines and go to different communities to see what people are trying to solve, figure out what people desires and wants and needs are. And then also, when you're searching for that idea, think about the fact that, okay, what are you expert in potentially? Because that's going to make creation of the product or service much easier. Or maybe you have a friend or a potential co-founder who is an expert in something. And again, in the niche that you understand. So the problem, the niche that you are expert in, those are great intersections of, what do you call it? Not the skills, but reality, entities of reality, or blanking in finding the right word to describe it, but it's this Venn diagram. When you have your customer, you understand because maybe you're part of that niche and you figured out doing legitimate but simple research in the book. Noah goes in all these details. That's why I'm saying it's an amazing book. So it's like a reference book for building businesses over and over and over again. By the way, did I mention that Noah actually built many multiple $1 million businesses and went through this challenge of making profit in a weekend from the idea that other people suggested even. So the process works really, really well. And I'm so excited to be dedicating a lot more time to this process this weekend. But anyhow, so this Venn diagram of intersection of the niche of your ideal customer, their problem, and your expertise, like what can you deliver really fast and in a simple way, and usually that's something that you really understand. And then you have this Venn diagram, and the intersection is that product that can potentially deliver $1 million in profits. So that's where you start. That's where you begin the building of the business with doing proper idea validation, and not just, I got an idea. That's actually a dumb way to set yourself for failure. That very often means wasting a lot of your time and money invested into something that nobody really wants, and then trying to push it on people, and you never ask those people in the first place whether they wanted this solution or not. I hope I help you to see, like I saw myself, how dumb it is to start with the product and then waste your money and energy and other people's money and a lot of time, and then on developing this product that you're excited about, and then trying to push it on other people, and people don't want it, and you get frustrated. Why don't they understand? Well, why should they understand? They have their own desires and needs and wants. So maybe instead of trying to change the people, that is never a good idea. Try to start with the people first and see what they already want and need, and make that. And that's how the greatest businesses start. So my advice for you is to definitely pick up a book, and definitely stay tuned for Friday when we're going to go through the building a 1 million business plan, and then validating it in 48 hours. That's I'm going to be doing right after that podcast on Friday. I'm going to be taking this weekend to do exactly that, to get my first payments for the new presentation of the service, the product that I'm going to redesign based on the customer, not what I'm in love with. And I guess my personal remark will add on here, it will work not just for the completely new businesses, even though I'm so excited to now have this framework that is successful and succeeding in the world, and then use it for many different businesses down the road. So I'm very excited about that. But I'm also very excited about reimagining, rebuilding my existing idea, my existing business based on customer first, and then working a lot more on problem definition, on better problem definition, and then creating the service, the product that people want and need and so ready to pay for. So stay tuned for the next episode based on $1 million weekend, the surprisingly simple way to launch a 7-figure business in 48 hours. So stay tuned for the continuation of exploring this book. Pick up the book. I highly recommend that. You won't regret it, and you'll be thanking me and Noah Kagan for making this book happen. And also, Noah developed so many resources. And again, he sent me $1. So that was fun. You're going to have a lot of fun. And I think for the first time in my life, I actually feel like business is a lot of fun when you get the right mindset and the right tools, and you do it the right way. And there is the right way and the wrong way to do so based on the practices and experiences that are in the world. So, and it also kind of grounds you to reality, and you start to see why so many businesses fail, because they are so nebulous in solving the problem for God knows who, in a way that the only a very niche group of people is excited about besides themselves. So yes, I'm very excited about the book, about the Easter weekend, where I'm going to be getting signups and money wired to my new business idea that I'm yet to develop. Stay tuned for Friday's episode, where we're going to validate the idea, verify it, create a simple, super simple 1 minute plan for our $1 million business and beyond. And till then, folks, stay tuned. Start working on your ideas, starting with the customer first. Take this challenge, coffee challenge with 10% discount, and start asking. And have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you very soon.